Hi. Los Angeles, the city in the USA in the south of the state of California, which is on the bank of the Pacific Ocean. The most populated in the state and the second in the country. For July 1, 2009, 3,831,868 inhabitants. The city is the administrative center of the district of the same name and also the center of big Los Angeles agglomerations with the population more than 17 million people. Residents of Los Angeles are called by Angelenos. Los Angeles is one of the largest world cultural, scientific, economic, education centers. Also the city, one of the largest world centers of show business in the sphere of cinema, theater, music, literature and television. History. In the coastal territories occupied now by Los Angeles in the 16th century there lived Indians of Eton and Shumasha. Displacement of 50 tons every one. The seafarer Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo. Bartolomeo Farello was a pilot and his deputy. Became the first European who has stuck to the coast near present Los Angeles in 1542 by two ships, San Salvador and La Victoria. Having sailed from La Navidad, Mexico. On July 27, 1542, Cabrillo has landed in the Bay San Diego on September 28. At the time ashore there was an Indian village of Yang Na. The pioneer has died on January 3, 1543 and is buried on the island San Miguel, called subsequently by his name, Juan Rodriguez. About the swimming Rodriguez Cabrillo has written down in the magazine which was brought by his pilot, and now it is stored in one of archives of Seville, Spain. Only 227 years later the next expedition under the command of Gaspar Portal, in which the Franciscan missionary Juan Crespi, who has noted suitability of the area for the settlement in the notes, participated, has landed here. In 1771 other missionary, Junipero Serra, has founded the mission called in honor of Angel Gabriel on this place. By then in the territory of modern Los Angeles there were about 30 settlements of Indians of Eton where about 3,000 people lived. On September 4, 1781, at the governor's insistence, both California Felipe de Neve, Nirimichen, the group of the Spanish colonists consisting of 46 people led by José Dirio Orgallo, have been founded the settlement under the name El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora la Reina de Los Angeles sobre el Río Porciúncula. The settlement of Virgin Mary, the Queen Angelove, on the Porciúncula River. Several decades the new settlement remained only the small town, but by 1820 it was already the largest secular settlement in California. There lived 650 people. After declaration of independence of Mexico, Los Angeles shortly was its part. After defeat of Mexico in the American-Mexican War, the city has passed to the USA under the Peace Treaty of 1848. In 1850 Los Angeles has received the official status of the city. In 1876 the Southern Pacific Company has completed the construction of the railroad to Los Angeles. Citrus fruit growing, especially cultivation of oranges, became a basis of local economy soon. For the last 40 years of the 19th century the population has grown from 2.3 thousand to 100,000 inhabitants. In 1892 near the city deposits of oil have been found, and by 1923 a quarter of all world production of this hydrocarbon fell on the district of Los Angeles. In 1913, William Mulholland has completed the construction of an aqueduct which has provided with water the growing Los Angeles. From 1920th years in Los Angeles in high gear began to develop the aircraft industry and to open film studios. In 1932 the city has hosted the 10 Summer Olympic Games. The beginning of World War II has given a new impulse to development of the city. During this period to the city a number of the German scientists, cultures and arts running from Nazism. Among them there are Leon Fechtinger, Thomas Mann, Fritz Lang, Bertolt Brecht. Has moved. In 1942 thousands of residents of Los Angeles of the Japanese origin have been moved and closed the camp out of the city. Internment was carried out according to the government directive No. 1966 signed by the President Franklin Roosevelt. In post-war years the city violently developed and grew in breadth. Numerous grade crossing elimination structures, skyscrapers were under construction. By 1970 the central part of the city not only has become empty, but, according to some interviewed inhabitants, began to seem others and even hostile. Concerning Los Angeles used such definitions as suburbs in search of the city, a prototype of a supergrid after Pia. The zone allocated only for a vehicular traffic. On June 5, 1968 in Los Angeles, Senator and United States presidential candidate Robert Kennedy, the brother of the 35th United States President John Kennedy, killed in November 1963, have been shot. In 1984 in Los Angeles, the Summer Olympic Games in which athletes from the countries of the socialist camp did not participate have been held again. In 1992 in Los Angeles there were Massachusetts riots, the largest from the 1960th years, provoked by trial of 4 white police officers convicted of beating of the Afro-American, but acquitted in court. In disorders the collected national hostility has found a way up. The Korean shopkeepers became the main victims of crowd. Only 55 people have been killed and 2,000 are wounded. After 6 days of disorders, army divisions have been entered into the city, more than 10,000 arrests are produced. In 1994 the city has endured the destructive earthquake which has damaged many houses and objects of city infrastructure. After these events the movement for office of Hollywood and San Fernando's Valley from Los Angeles has gained strength, but universal suffrage of 2002 has not allowed to be carried out to these plans. At the end of the beginning of the 21st century, many quarters of the city, among which there is Hollywood, Silver Lake, the central part of the city, the Korean Quarter, have undergone gentrification. Geography. This city is located on the coastal lowland adjacent to the Gulf Santa Monica, and bordered with mountains San Gabriel, Santa Monica and Santa Ana. Geographical coordinates of Los Angeles: 33 AN 118 AGAO Olbo. According to Bureau of an United States Census, the total area of Los Angeles is 1,290.6 km, including 1,214.9 km. The land and 75.7 km. Water spaces 5.86%. The maximum extent of the city from the north on the south is 71 km, from the east on the west -47 km, the extent of city borders -550 km. The urban area is the ninth in area in a continental part of the USA. That is excepting Juneau, the state of Alaska, and Honolulu, the state of Hawaii. Big Los Angeles agglomeration is stretched almost on 200 km between the cities of Ventura and San Bernardino. The highest point of Los Angeles Peak LC Sisters, 1548 m. The largest river of the city, the River Los Angeles, originating in San Fernando's Valley, mostly proceeds in the artificial concrete course. In droughty time practically dries up. The abundance of natural zones near the city, beaches, dunes, swamps, mountains, hills, the rivers, creates conditions for existence of variety of biological communities. Los Angeles is generally surrounded by droughty subtropical light forests with abundance of brightly blossoming plants. At the same time, the extraordinary urbanization of a landscape leads to reduction of distribution and disappearance of many species from city boundaries and its vicinities. Streets, gardens and squares of Los Angeles are set with numerous rare and exotic ornamental plants, among which there are different types of palm trees, camellias. Geology. Los Angeles is in an active seismic zone because of the proximity to a break San Andreas, and to the break of Punt Hills passing through the city. The destructive earthquake of 1994, which epicenter was in a northern part of the valley of San Fernando, became the last large earthquake. Its manifestation of elements, which has happened less than in 2 years after Massachusetts riots in Los Angeles, became the real shock for residents of California, having caused material damage for many billions of dollars. Other large earthquakes in the 20th century took place in this region in 1933, 1971 and in 1987. Anyway, the majority of the earthquakes occurring near the city are felt only as weak pushes. Small fluctuations are registered seismometers almost daily. Districts of Big Los Angeles. Los Angeles is considered by city geographers as a prototype of a modern American metropolis. In process of development of the motor transport, the Los Angeles model of urban development has replaced Chicago, prevailing in the 19th century. Los Angeles characterizes first of all lack of the city center. Though the historic center is La Plaza, and in downtown skyscrapers are concentrated, administrative functions are distributed between the areas far remote from each other. The majority of districts of the city was the certain cities which have been a part of Los Angeles earlier. There is also a number of satellite towns, and also the city's enclaves, territories of Los Angeles from all directions surrounded, which population treats the population of Los Angeles. In total, in the territory of Los Angeles, more than 80 areas are allocated, called basic, of which downtown, center, East Los Angeles, the Southern Los Angeles, Salt Bay and Harbor, Hollywood, Meadville-Shire, West Side, who includes the western Los Angeles and also the cities of Santa Monica and the western Hollywood, San Fernando's Valley, Island Terminal. It is necessary to allocate the world's second largest pier for yacht marine. The bay occupies the space slightly less than a half of square kilometer around Marina del Rey. On coast and numerous peninsulas in the bay, many housing and office estates, hotels, parks, walking promenades and restaurants are located. By the sizes, Marina del Rey concedes only to the Dubai Marina. Marina del Rey has been constructed in the 60s to 20th centuries. Opening has happened on April 10, 1965. Climate. The city is located in a zone of subtropical climate. It is similar to the Mediterranean climate on the mode of rainfall, but on temperature condition of all 12 months the average temperature over plus 14 C, therefore treats a tropical climate proceeds. The hot dry season, with almost total absence of rainfall, and also more cool damp season with abundant rainfall is characteristic of the city. The breezes blowing from the Pacific Ocean do climate in the districts of the city adjacent to the coastline, in more cool summer and warmer in the winter, in comparison with such continental districts of the city as, for example, San Fernando's Valley. Daytime temperature can strongly exceed plus 32 C, thus in the summer that average maximum usually keeps around plus 29 C. Average minimum night, it is normal around plus 18 C. In the winter in the afternoon average maximum temperature is plus 21 C, average minimum night about plus 8 C. The temperature maximum recorded during observations has made plus 48.33 C. On July 22, 2006. Minimum temperature was observed in the winter of 1989, 7.8 C. Rains are most characteristic of winter and spring months. February, the most damp month. On average in Los Angeles in a year 379 of rainfall drop at. The average number of days with rainfall minus 35. Snow in city boundaries drops out seldom. At the same time the mountains surrounding Los Angeles rather regularly become covered by snow. Thanks to environmental conditions, in some days in Los Angeles it is possible to play in the same day in mountain skiing and surfing. Ecological state. Due to the geographical location of the city doing its territory by the suitable place for emergence of temperature inversions and also considerable automobilization of the population, Los Angeles suffers from the atmospheric pollution which is shown in the form of a smog. Unlike other polluted cities, the maintenance of a sulfurous gas is small here, but the level of brown gas is extremely high. The valley in which the megalopolis is placed holds the pollution allocated by engines of vehicles and the industrial enterprises. The smog from the valley quite often rises above, to mountains where leads to damage and death of vegetation. An important negative factor is low precipitation and long summer droughts. In other megalopolises of draft promote cleaning of the atmosphere. In addition to it, subsoil water of the area is polluted by methyl tert butyl ether from petrol stations and other chemical compounds. All this forces the authorities and the population of the state of California to pay attention to decrease in level of emissions of cars. In recent years, thanks to better motor fuel and also advanced, including hybrid engines, the level of pollution began to decrease. Despite these steps, the American Pulmonary Association in 2004 recognized on a number of indicators Los Angeles as the city with the most polluted atmosphere in U.S.A. Bodies of the municipal government include the mayor and city council. At the moment the post of the mayor is held by Eric Garcetti, for the first time elected to this post in 2013 and re-elected in 2017. The city council consists of 15 members elected by residents of 15 districts of the city. Also, the population of Los Angeles are chosen the city prosecutor. For April 2019, Mike Fire. And the city controller, Ron Galperin. The main establishment which is responsible for law and order is the Department of Police of the City of Los Angeles. At the same time, police structures work in the city and some more. Management of public safety responsible for law and order on municipal objects, port, school and airport police. The local government in the city since 1999 is carried out by the quarter councils formed on an elective basis. All them there are 86. Actually, quarter councils have no direct power and their activity mostly has the controlling character, nevertheless they are official power bodies. Population of Los Angeles. According to the statistical report for 2006-2008, in the city there were 3,749,058 inhabitants, 1,275,534 households and 778,991 families. For July 1, 2009, 3,831,868 inhabitants. Population density, thus, made 2,904.9 persons on came. The racial structure of the population of the city was as follows. 49.5% white, 9.9% the Afro-Americans, 0.6% Indians, 10.4% Asians, 0.2% representatives of indigenous people of islands of the Pacific Ocean, 26.5% representatives of other races. 48.4% of the population defined the origin as Latin American. One of the greatest diasporas of the Asian and Latin American population among the cities of the USA lives in Los Angeles. In the city there is also a considerable Armenian diaspora. According to a census, the most widespread languages in the city, English and Spanish. According to 40.2% and 43.6% of the population have specified them as the family. Other Indo-European languages have specified as the family 7.0% of inhabitants, other languages minus 9.2% of respondents. Age structure of the population. 27.8% are younger than 20 years, 23.7% from 20 to 34 years, 15.9% from 35 to 44 years, 13.2% from 45 to 54 years, 9% from 55 to 64 years and 10.2% minus 65 years and are more senior. Middle age minus 33.9 years. Among inhabitants of 18 years, women are also more senior, made 50.5%. Among inhabitants there are 65 years and are more senior, already than 58.3%. 21.1% of residents had higher education. As of the beginning of 2006, 48,000 homeless lived in Los Angeles. Total number of the residents of the district Los Angeles who do not have a shelter over the head was 82,000 people. As note, Los Angeles by right uses sad glory of the American capital of the homeless. Immigrants. Los Angeles is the house for representatives of more than 140 countries speaking at least 224 various languages. This city is the second in the USA after Miami on a share of the population born outside the country. According to the statistical report for 2006-2008, 170.5 thousand residents were identified by the origin as the German, 146.7 thousand as the Irish, 129.7 thousand as British, 100.1 thousand as the Italian, 98.7 thousand as Russian. The International Airport of Los Angeles is the gate, most important in the United States, for immigrants. An important element of culture of Los Angeles are ethnic quarters of the city, among which, the Chinese Quarter, the Korean Quarter, Small Armenia, the Thai Quarter, Historical Philippine Quarter, Tegheran's Hills and Small Ethiopia, which are visually representing colorful color of the megalopolis. Affected, unlike the vast majority of the American cities which population of the center is considerably reduced, the central part of Los Angeles from 1958 years continued to become populated and high gear is represented curious. First of all, it has been connected with big inflow of immigrants. During the period from 1920 to 1960, the population of the city promptly grew. Thanks to massive inflow of the black population from the southeast of the U.S.A. Since the beginning of the 1990th years, the number of the Afro-Americans in the city was cut by half due to migration of Afro-American middle class to suburbs, especially in Antelope Valley and Inland Empire. The Afro-Americans in a row of the color districts of Los Angeles were succeeded by Latin Americans. Nevertheless, the Afro-Americans remained dominating in such areas as Lima Park, Baldwin Hills, South Central, Compton, Inglewood and others. Russian-speaking community. Los Angeles, one of the large centers of residence of Russian-speaking immigrants in America. Immigrants from the former U.S.A. live in different districts and suburbs of Los Angeles, but their center in the city entering the Los Angeles agglomeration, the Western Hollywood, is the highest. Here the Russian language press is published, tours of actors from Russia and other countries of the former U.S.A. will be organized, the Russian shops and restaurants are concentrated. As of 2015, to Los Angeles from Moscow carry out direct runs of Aeroflot airline. Also admission to flights was got by Nordwind Airlines. The Russian-speaking community of Los Angeles is described in some works by Sergei Dovlatov. Small Armenia is the residential district of Hollywood. The name of the area comes from a large number of the American Armenians who live in it and also a large number of the Armenian shops and enterprises. Here, on the avenue of Alexandria Street, Karapet's Temple of the Armenian Apostolic Church is located. It is constructed in 1978. Also in the area there is a public park donated the city by Alina Barnsdal's successor. Annually on April 24 in Small Armenia, the actions in support of recognition of genocide of Armenians in Ottoman Turkey in 1915 accompanied with meetings, flash mobs, motor rallies and so on take place. The Armenian schools, among them, the Armenian School Shumliana, the Armenian School of Hollywood, specialized Armenian schools on studying of specialties, the Armenian Sunday schools, the Armenian circles, societies on interests, charity foundations, political parties, business communities and so on also work in the area. Action of many novels, stories and verses by Charles Bukowski, the resident of East Hollywood, happens in Small Armenia. Religion. In Los Angeles, representatives of the most various religions, in particular, not less than 100 Christian faiths get on. The most representative of them, as of 2006, was the Roman Catholic Church, the diocese largest in the country. In 2002, the construction of the modern Catholic cathedral devoted to the Mother of God, which was carried out under the leadership of the Cardinal Mahoney in the north of the downtown, has been completed. There is a Jewish religious community of Los Angeles, third largest in the country. A set of the religious organizations representing various beliefs including Zoroastrianism, the Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, Sufism, many Christian currents functions. In total in the city there are over 300 cult buildings. Also there is a great number of fans of non-conventional beliefs and sects, such as neopaganists, Kabbalists, Scientologists. As of 2000, faiths of the district Los Angeles contained. The general population of the district made 6,684.7 thousand people. Catholics minus 3,806.4 thousand people in 278 religious communities. Jews minus 564.7 thousand people in 202 religious communities. The Southern Baptist Convention. Evangelists minus 111.6 thousand people in 312 religious communities. Mormons minus 97.4 thousand people in 239 religious communities. Muslims minus 9,000 people in 48 religious communities. The Armenian Apostolic Church (AP), 37,000 people. In the business center of the city, Los Angeles, the largest industrial and economic center of the West Shore. The main industries providing economic development of the city are international trade, TV and motion picture industry, the war, aerospace, petroleum, electrotechnical, car assembly, instrument making, food industry. Actively biotechnologies develop. Oil production is developed. Among other considerable industries there are economies: finance, telecommunications, medicine, transport, tourism. Nearly 500,000 people from among the population of Big Los Angeles are employed in this industry, and also show business and cultures. In Los Angeles, the headquarters of the companies entering the leading ratings of the world: Forbes Global 2000 and Fortune 500. Occidental Petroleum, the oil and gas industry, Alliance Steel and Aluminum, Metallurgy, Sierra Group, Real Estate, HealthNet, Medical and Financial Services, City National Bank, Financial Services, K-Home, Construction is located. In addition, in the city the headquarters of such known corporations as 20th Century Fox, Paramount Pictures, Guess, Balkan is located. A bigger number of the headquarters of the large companies is located in satellite towns where lower tax rates are combined with advantages of proximity of the megalopolis. Among such companies the Walt Disney Company is, Ware Bank, DirecTV, El Segundo, Edison International, Razmed, Healthcare Property Investors, Long Beach, Public Storage, Glendale, Mattel, El Segundo, Jacobs Engineering Group, Pasadena, Hilton Hotels, Beverly Hills, Warner Bros., Bank, Sony Pictures Entertainment and Columbia Pictures, Culver City, DreamWorks, Universal City, Sea Launch, Long Beach, Universal Music Group and Activision, Santa Monica. The fact that in spite of the fact that Los Angeles is considered the capital of world cinema, only one of the largest studios shoots films in Hollywood. Paramount Pictures is curious. Shooting stages of other companies are taken out to suburbs of Los Angeles. Burbank, Culver City and Glendale. Los Angeles, the venue of a number of large international exhibitions, among which Electronic Entertainment Expo is. The Greater Los Angeles Auto Show. It is private, called by the main international auto exhibition. One of the largest exhibition complexes of the city is Los Angeles Convention Center. The lack of a number of natural resources, in particular, of local sources of water, leaves the mark on economic activity in the city. Today the district of Los Angeles is served by 3 aqueducts. The first delivers water from distance of 544 km. The Valley Owens. The second from distance of 389 km. From the Colorado River. And the third from distance of 714 km. From the delta of the River of Sacramento. Also the city tests a certain lack of the electric power. C. An energy crisis in California. On branches of economy, employment in Big Los Angeles was distributed as follows. 2010. Professional services and scientific research. 471.6 thousand. Industry. 451.6 thousand. Healthcare and social help. 444.8 thousand. Retail trade. 418.1 thousand. Hotel business and public catering. 339. 8,000. Administrative and utilities. 319.5 thousand. Wholesale trade. 259.8 thousand. Information technologies. 215.6 thousand. Other services. 117.7 thousand. Operations with the real estate. 90.8 thousand. Art, entertainments and rest. 87.4 thousand. Educational services. 25.3 thousand. Motor transport. Los Angeles, the most motorized city in the world. In it 1.8 million more cars than the licensed drivers are registered. Daily cars in total pass 160 million kilometers on city streets. 1.06 and V. Los Angeles possesses one of the systems of highways which are most developed in the world, many of which are constructed on platforms. Crossings of highways are followed by grandiose multi-level grade crossing elimination structures. In general, the city has generally rectangular planning. Streets are extended from the north on the south and from the east on the west. A number of the largest and known streets carries names of boulevards. Due to the insufficient financing, many streets of Los Angeles are covered with asphalt of low quality in which there are hollows. But the main problem of the city movement are automobile traffic jams. As of 2009, the Transport Institute of Texas called Los Angeles the city with the most loaded roads. The motorist of the city spends for standing in traffic jams, on average 63 hours a year, this third place in the country after Chicago and Washington. However, in 2005 this indicator was 72 hours. The main reason of traffic jams, impracticality of building to service by public transport, a large number of private automobiles, lack of restrictions for their use within the city. Always a -5 and S-101 passing through Los Angeles connected with the cities lying to the north and to the south. A -10 serves for communication with the cities lying to the east of Los Angeles. Contrary to popular belief that in Los Angeles allegedly nobody goes on foot, many streets of the downtown and also the local centers of the districts of Los Angeles are full of pedestrians. In such areas movement on foot often much quicker than on motor transport because of automobile jams and problems with the parking. The city administration at coordination of projects of new construction demands obligatory inclusion of parkings in them now. As the main systems of public transport in the city serve the bus network and also the network of rail transport including lines of the subway and light rail transport with a total length about 120 km. This economy is under control of the state company Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, which is usually called by Metro or MTA. The rail system includes the red and purple line of the subway, gold, blue and green lines and also the Expo line of an elevated light rail system. Also the orange line of a high-speed bus system is allocated. The total number of daily transported passengers is evaluated in 1.7 million. Passenger rail transportation is carried out by the Amtrak and Metrolink companies from the historical Union Station station. The aviation message of Los Angeles is carried out by 5 commercial airports and also a number of small airfields and the airports of small aircraft. Among the commercial airports: International Airport of Los Angeles, U.S.A. U.S.A. Plex. The 5th in loading airport in the world. Is one of the nodal airports of United Airlines. International Airport Ontario, U.S.A. Ontario. Kont. Ballpoops Airport, U.S.A. Where Ike. Kbor. Municipal Airport Long Beach, U.S.A. Ligi Ike. Club. John Wayne's Airport, U.S.A. Sna Ike. Kena. Marine transport. The ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach together form the port area, largest in the USA, one of the largest on goods turnover in the world. Here the 5th is located in the world on a turnkey container terminal. 14.2 million to in 2008. Seagate of Los Angeles also are popular with passenger shipping companies. In 2009, about 800,000 passengers of ocean cruise ships have been served here. The greatest indicator on the western coast of U.S.A. Also within the city and its vicinities, a number of the bays adapted for the parking of small-size vessels and yachts. Redondo Bay, Marina del Rey, is located. The main city daily newspaper is the Los Angeles Times, one of the most influential and readable newspapers in the U.S.A. Circulation of daily release of 773.9 thousand, the fourth place in the country in 2008. In addition to it, in the city, the Massachusetts of city and regional newspapers, magazines and other periodicals, among which there is 50A. Weekly 50A. City Beat, Los Angeles Magazine, Los Angeles Business Journal, The Hollywood Reporter and Variety. Editions about show business. The Planning Report, Los Angeles Downtown News, etc. is issued. Local newspapers and magazines are issued in various districts of Los Angeles and its suburbs. In addition to the press in the English and Spanish languages, there is a number of the printing editions lighting life of various immigrant groups on Korean, Persian, Russian, Japanese and other languages. Los Angeles, the important region of telecasting of the USA, taking the second place after New York by the number of the houses provided with telecasting. In the city works the set of broadcasting and cable TV channels, among which Cab TV 7, ABS, Cabs 2, CBS, KNBC 4, NBC, TTV 11, Fox, KALA 5, The Q's. 4 channels entering the broadcasting PBS system. Kivieker 24, Keket 28, KOS 50 and KLES 58, KCAL 9. CBS Corporation belongs. There is a number of the TV channels broadcasting in Spanish. KLP 27, KKK 62, and other languages. Education. Los Angeles, the important center of the higher and secondary vocational education of the USA. Among the most known educational institutions working in the city and suburbs: the University of California, Los Angeles, is a part of the system of the University of California. California State University, California Institute of Technology, South Californian Medical University, Lutasovsky College of Art and Design, American Film Institute, South Californian Institute of Architecture. In the city, the set of high schools. Total number of pupils for 2009 over 800,000. And the colleges allowing to get an education in the field of the most important spheres of human activity is located. Culture and entertainments. The capital of entertainments, its inhabitants and guests often call Los Angeles. In the city, tens of thousands of entertaining institutions, restaurants, cafes, bars, for which variety the various national structure of the megalopolis could not but postpone the print function. The main centers of night pleasures are concentrated in the downtown, in the areas of Silver Lake, Hollywood, the Western Hollywood, with the well-known street of clubs and Sunset Street's bars. In the afternoon, citizens and tourists are waited by world-famous theme parks of entertainment's Disneyland. In the neighboring city, Anaheim, and Universal Studios Hollywood, and also the well-known ocean beaches in Santa Monica and Malibu. Los Angeles' glory of World Retail Center. Among the busiest shopping streets there are cities. Rodeo Drive to Beverly Hills, the Fjord Street Promenade and Montana Avenue in Santa Monica, Old Town in Pasadena, Hollywood, etc. Los Angeles is also one of the world capitals of fashionable business, a glamour and luxury that has got the response in numerous movies and other works of art. Cinema and music. Most known hallmark of the city regarding art is production of movies and TV programs. Los Angeles is the residence of a great number of popular film actors. In addition to a number of the Hollywood film studios in the city, a number of film institutions, including the American Academy of Motion Picture Art, the American Institute of Cinema, is based. A number of film festivals, including the Los Angeles Film Festival of Independent Cinema, is held. Los Angeles by right takes a place of honor in world musical culture. In the 1960th years, Boulevard Sunset Street became the launch pad for such groups as the Byrds, Buffalo Springfield, the Doors. In the same regions the career of the Beach Boys has begun. From Los Angeles there is a great number of music bands of heavy and alternative orientation, among which there is Van Halen. From nearby Pasadena, Motley Crue, Metallica have moved to San Francisco later. Guns N' Roses, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Trash, the Metal Slayer group. Its city is famous also for the gothic scene, exactly here at a boundary of 1970th and 1980th. The style the death fate provided by such groups is 45 brave, Christian death and community equi was created, and among modern popular contractors of gothic music it is possible to note London After Midnight, Diva Destruction and Voodoo Church. In the 90s, the 20th century, Los Angeles has presented to the rest of the world the whole group of the famous groups, among which there are 30 Seconds to Mars, Blink-182, Hollywood Undead, Korn, Beck, Sublime, Rage Against the Machine, Linkin Park. From Santa Monica, System of a Down. A significant contribution the city has brought also in hip-hop, a scene of the USA, electronic music and other styles. In the territory of the city, the numerous recording studios belonging to numerous labels of sound recording. Among them there are Warner Music Group, Capitol Records, a set independent record labels are located. In the Concert Hall of Walt Disney, the Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestra is based. Los Angeles is widely known for the monumental art which, canvas, first of all, are thousands of city walls. A number of the famous muralists having the Mexican origin. Diego Rivera, David Alfaro Siqueiros have immortalized the name on streets of the megalopolis. In the 1960-70th years in the region, the art current, Chicano art, by a word Chicano call natives of Mexico, has gained strength, the artists belonging to which used monumentalistic tradition in the works. Los Angeles is one of the world centers of graffiti scenes. In particular, works of graffiti groups in a Tunnel Belmont are widely known. The program of public art, ordering to all builders building new buildings to donate 1% from construction cost in public fund of arts works in the city. Museums and theaters. At the same time, the attention of inhabitants and guests of Los Angeles attracts the increasing number of cultural institutions, among which there is a Museum of Art of the District Los Angeles. LACMA. Getty's Museum, the Museum of Modern Art. MOSA, the Museum of Neon Art. MONA, the Skirball Cultural Center, the Museum of Tolerance, the Museum of Art of the American Indians of the Southwest. The Los Angeles Natural History Museum, the Museum of Latin History, Art and Culture, Museum of Local Lore of the District Los Angeles, and many others. Across the territory of the city, a significant amount of the art galleries. The most known are located in Santa Monica and the Western Hollywood. Forming megalopolis artistic environment is scattered. Total number of the museums and galleries of the District Los Angeles, over 800. The first place in the world per capita. Among the most known theaters and concert halls of the city, it is necessary to allocate the audio system of the District Los Angeles, including Dorothy Chandler's Pavilion, the place of performances of the Los Angeles Opera, the Amundsen Theater serving as a scene for large-scale Broadway productions, Ford's Amphitheater, the Greek Theater, Hollywood Bowl, the Concert Hall of Walt Disney. The world-famous Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestra acts here. Dolby Theater, where in particular the Oscar award ceremony is now held. The Staples Center. In it since 2000, except for 2003, the Grammy Award is carried up, etc. Also on the city, the set of small theaters is scattered. In Los Angeles, as to the capital of world film business, there is a set of movie theaters, the most known of which the Chinese Theater Chikikiek, where there take place many premieres, and El Capitan Theater. The largest library of the city is the Public Library of Los Angeles and its branches serving residents of the city. Inhabitants of neighborhood of the city can use services of Public Library of the District Los Angeles. In general, the system of public libraries of the city contains 72 library institutions. Architecture and sites. Los Angeles, quite young city, and in its territory there are no world-famous architectural monuments. In the downtown there is a number of buildings in Art Deco style, characteristic of the first half of the 20th century. Regular planning and low building density is characteristic of the city. The bulk of the population lives in private houses and country houses. High-rise buildings are concentrated in the central part. Till 1956 the law prohibited to build higher than 45 m in the city of the building. And as of 2015, 10 of 12 highest buildings of California are in Los Angeles. The modern architecture is provided by a considerable variety of inhabited, commercial and production buildings, among which there are Frank Gehry's works, the Concert Hall of Walt Disney, the Californian Aerospace Museum, Afro-American architect innovator Paul Williams, Tom Main, Eric Moss and other famous architects. In the city actually there is no historic center. Los Angeles consists of certain areas with the history and sites. At the same time, city visitors can find much interesting on its streets. Among the main places attracting tourists: Hollywood and its film studios, in many of which are organized the exposures devoted to cinema. Hollywood Boulevard. On its sidewalks since 1960 stars with names of outstanding film actors and also figures of television, a gramophone recording and theater. Hollywood Walk of Fame are beaten up. Ancient Mexican Olvera Street. An old Times corner among glass and concrete of the central part of Los Angeles. Boulevard, Wilshire. Stretched on 24 km from the downtown to the ocean, and its central part known as the Mile of Miracles, filled with restaurants, nightclubs, etc. Chinatown, a small corner of the east in the center of the megalopolis. The Angels Flight funicular. Flight of Angels. Sometimes called by the shortest railroad in the world. It is constructed in 1901, in the 1969 it is closed, in the 1996 it is restored, since March 15, 2001 it is stopped in connection with accident. United States Bank Tower, a skyscraper 310 m high, one of the highest buildings in the world, the highest building in the USA to the west from Chicago. The park of exhibitions in the territory of which are Coliseum Stadium. 95,000 places. At which played the Olympic Games 1932 and 1984 of year, the museums of natural history, space, scientific and industrial, Afro-American Museum, etc. Griffith Observatory with planetarium which is in the territory of the park of the same name. Largest city park of the USA. The Los Angeles Zoo which is also located in the territory of the Graffiti Park. Embankments Malibu, Long Beach, Manhattan Beach, Redondo Beach and beaches with rather warm and pure water. U.S.A. Towers, are also known under the name of Towers of Simon Rodia. 9/17 decorative steel towers decorated with a bat of the glazed tile, ceramics, bottles, sinks. Venice. The area in the west of the city, well known for the beaches and channels. Temple in Wilshire Boulevard, the oldest reformist synagogue of Los Angeles, founded in 1862. In Los Angeles there is administratively independent city of Beverly Hills known for the luxurious mansions of the famous Hollywood actors and magnates of the film industry, the materialized embodiment of the American dream. Sport. In the city there are teams of the following highest leagues. Clubs of NFL on the American Soccer, Los Angeles Rams, and Los Angeles Chargers, Baseball Club of El Bielb, Los Angeles Dodgers, Hockey Club of Nonal, Los Angeles Kings, NBA basketball clubs, Los Angeles Clippers, and Los Angeles Lakers, and also football clubs Mills, Los Angeles Galaxy, and Los Angeles. Near Los Angeles, in the city of Fontana, the auto race circuit of Auto Club Speedway which is annually hosting the race's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is located. Los Angeles hosted the Summer Olympic Games twice, in 1932 and 1984 years, will host also Summer Olympic Games in 2028. The Olympic Games of the 1984th year have given an impulse to the organization of the Los Angeles Marathon which is carried out annually in March since 1986. Among Massachusetts sports, the beach volleyball and windsurfing which are actually invented in Los Angeles are in its district. It is considered also that in Los Angeles the skateboarding and roller sport has for the first time found popularity. One of legends of Los Angeles is the surfing and also the related subculture which has found reflection in a number of movies and other examples of pop culture. For example, a surf fade. The neighborhood of the city and in particular, the mountains lying around and in its territory gives opportunities for development of various Massachusetts sports and activity, the mountain bicycle, run, tourism, foot horse walks. In addition, the population of the city and suburbs actively does such sports as mountain skiing, snowboarding, rock climbing, hand gliding, paraplanerism. Many of fans of sport are united in the sports clubs, which are quite often organizing various competitions and other Massachusetts actions. Within the city and in its vicinities, the set of gyms, the fitness centers, the swimming pools drawing attention of fans of fitness and active pastime is located. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.